Welcome back to Dodo's Den, where we talk about some of the best ways to navigate life that are endangered by society. We talk about them because if we don't, they might go extinct. I'm your host Dorian, but you can call me Dodo, and today's topic is accountability important? So just listen to what I'm saying in this video and tell me at the end, did your perspective on accountability change? Is it more or less important to you? Or do you just think about it differently? Because there's a short answer to this question, and it's yes. But ultimately, a lot of people say that and then don't practice it. Accountability is one of the hardest things to practice because it involves talking to someone else and giving your keys to your situation to them. It's almost like if you buy a house and you get a key and you give an extra key to somebody else. You're taking a risk. And it's one of the hardest things to do because we want to be so individual. We want to take the world on by ourselves, but community is important. And I think accountability is one of the most crucial things to a solo person's life. I think accountability can be great by yourself. And I know that's crazy to hear. Like, isn't accountability when you invite someone else into your situation or conversation or problem? Essentially, yes. Online, I think the definition is the obligation to account for. That's what accountability is, the obligation to account for someone else, to account for something because you're a part of it. That's usually how accountability goes. But I think accountability, maybe self accountability, if you will, is so good for us because self accountability is when you hold yourself to a standard because you're inviting your future self into situations. In reality, we all think like this at some points, but I think the people who maybe have mastered self accountability have this down to a T. They know that maybe they can't do something, or maybe they need to do something because they don't want future them to find out about it. They don't want future them to be discouraged or depressed or not proud of them. I think about this because there's been times where I just do things that remind me that, hey, I'm alive and hey, I have control over my situations. And sometimes it feels like I don't almost, like it's almost like I'm going on autopilot. But if I just switch things up and maybe surrender a bit, hold myself accountable, and give my future self or present self a little more control over situations, that's when self accountability kind of just pops up. For example, I take cold showers a lot. And the only bad thing about cold showers is it makes you to where you don't want to take a shower. Because let's be honest, if you're tired, the last thing you want to do is get in cold water. Unless you're an athlete and you're sore, I can understand that. But if you're just beaten up from a day's of work and you're just ready to go to sleep, a hot shower can almost like make that even better. And a cold shower is just the direct opposite of that. So if I'm being honest, there's times where I'm like, I don't want to take a shower. Ultimately, I end up taking a shower. But I want to get back that feeling of I cannot wait to take a shower. Because I get jealous sometimes with people. They're excited for the shower. I can see the steam coming out of the bathroom. They look so happy to be out of the shower. And meanwhile, I'm in the bathroom suffering because the cold water sucks. And, it has its benefits. But today, I just turned on the hot water. It was cold, and I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to do a hot shower. And I did that, and doing that and feeling that hit my skin, I'm like, I have control. And the way this plays in the self accountability is that I knew in that moment that I can't keep almost going on autopilot. because it's going to affect the future me. And then I'm going to look back at this and be like, what are you doing? Dorian, Dodo, what are you doing? You should have done this. You should have done this. So when I ask the question, is accountability important? Obviously, it's yes. But is it important to you? Is it important to you when you're solo, when you're with other people? When accountability is important is so crucial to it being an important part of your life. If you want accountability to almost make you into a better person, stop some bad habits that you have to invite it in. And that's not only with other people, because I've had too many times where I think I have the best accountability partners. Maybe I can tell somebody something. Hey man, I'm struggling with this. I just want to let you know. And I maybe do that for a bit, but if I get to a point where I don't really talk to them anymore or it just kind of dies down, it just goes away. Accountability needs to stay around when you're by yourself and when you're with other people. And I know when I say when you're with other people, I mean in the context of I can't do this or I have to do this because somebody else is hanging in the balance. But it needs to be solo too, because you're hanging in the balance. Your future self, your past self, the you now. Think of it like three different people. You gotta hold yourself accountable. I gotta do things in the future to make sure my past self is proud. I gotta do things now to make sure my future self doesn't have to clean up my mess. I've had to do things in the past that way I don't have to look back and regret things that I did. And when I think about it like that, and I think about the control I have over each and every given circumstance, I know that accountability is important for those three parts of me broken up in any situation. When you think about accountability, it's so easy to think that you got to talk to somebody regularly, otherwise it just doesn't work. A lot of people say accountability partners don't work, and I don't really know if accountability partners work. I've had people that hold me accountable. I've never had an accountability partner. I think one time in college I had an accountability partner for one of the clubs at the school I was trying to join. And when I think about that, it was things I needed to do daily. I talked to my accountability partner. There was one time I loved that my accountability partner did this because it affected me personally. The guy's name is Elijah. Bro, you're great, bro. He pulled me aside one time because I was a part of this club and I'm at a Christian college, so try or Greek life, so frats and sororities are clubs and tribes for us. So my club, when I was getting initiated into the club, I was just doing the things to get in. It wasn't anything bad. I started to get a lot of strikes. And if you get enough strikes, you can get kicked out. And you have to go through all this stuff. It kind of sucks. But there was one time I had so many strikes. And you would think that accountability partners, they're just other college kids goofing off trying to get into this pseudo frats. Like they're not going to care. But this guy pulled me aside one time because I had so many strikes. Like I was getting ready to plead my case to like I think the big parts of the organization I was trying to join, and he pulled me aside. He's like, "Dude, I'm trying to make sure you want this." And I was like, "Whoa!" I thought he was just gonna like do this to like say he did it but no, he's like, "I want to make sure you want this because I want this." And you messing up now, or you messing up in the future, you messing up in the past, looks bad on me. And it's not about me; it's about both of us. But you're a part of this. And I needed to say something because otherwise you were just gonna fail. And I sat there and looked at him. I'm like, I just didn't expect it. And I was like, thank you. Because I wanted to be a part of this club. The thing that was bad is because I had a buddy that had gotten in the club, and I started joining the club because of him. I wasn't a freshman. Most people rush into fraternities or sororities as freshmen, but I wasn't a freshman. I was a sophomore, so I thought I knew everything. I could just breeze through it. I didn't have to try. And my accountability partner, Elijah, gave me a reality check. He was making sure I wanted it because the things I am doing is going to screw up myself in the future and going to screw him up too. It looks bad on him. And those are things I need to practice daily. You need to tell yourself in the mirror that you can't afford to screw up because it's going to look bad on the future you. The future you, if he has to clean up your mess and just sit there and be like, crap, why did I say this? Why did I do this? Why did I go here? Why did I interact with this person when I knew I shouldn't have interacted with that person? It goes so many different ways. You have to hold yourself accountable. And maybe you don't have to actually say it, but you have to do it. Maybe saying it can almost like speaking it into action. But when you break it up and you understand that anytime an accountability partner is used in any context, it's things you need to do to yourself and with yourself. I see a lot of accountability partners for things like pornography or alcohol or any other addiction that someone may have. And it involves simply telling somebody about it, talking about um, why it's bad, keeping them up to date, um, going to do things with people that distract you. I mean, that's just what I know about it. I never, hopefully, I never get to a point. I haven't got to a point yet where it's so bad that I feel like I need this. Maybe everyone needs it. I don't know. I'm a little naive in this concept, but it's just so many things I think about, and I'm like, you need to do this daily, or at least periodically, in your everyday life. In the same way, I took that shower and I realized that I have control. And the things I'm doing, it can really screw with my life in the future. I realized that I need to actively make these practices part of my life. That is how I hold myself accountable in the area of being solo. It's so important. It's so important for you to get those reminders because you can screw up your life without even realizing it. Because I go on autopilot so much, doing things that are really bad for me. And when I get to a point where I take control and I'm like, why was I doing this? I realized that I didn't hold myself accountable. There's been times where I've eaten so healthy in my life that, bro, you would think I'm a rabbit, especially in high school. Like high school, I was so accountable for myself. I'm almost baffled by how accountable I was because I would look at the back of every single thing I picked up. I would look at the back of cereal boxes, look at the back of microwave meals, and just break things down because I'm like, I don't want to take things into my body that I'm gonna regret. And I did that for so long. And I still do it a little bit now, but not near as much in the past. And it made me realize that that's true accountability. That is why accountability is important because it reminds you of who you are, why you're somewhere at any given point, and it gives you purpose. Purpose to do things for a reason. And some people may say it's shallow because you're doing it for yourself. But ultimately, in this life, we're only ever gonna be with ourselves. And just like I've said right now, yourselves, not yourself, yourselves, your past, present, and future self. Break it up into three parts. Everything you do, you will do, or you have done will affect your life, has affected your life, is affecting your life. When you break it up and you make accountability important to yourself by making you those people, Because a lot of people think you need other people for accountability. No, you just need other versions of yourself, versions of people in this journey. Accountability is simply mentoring in a way because you're getting advice, leaning on someone, having someone help you that is in a different part of their journey. And it's the same thing for you. Your past self is never going to be in the same part of your journey as you now. You now is never going to be in the same part of the journey as you in the future. Imagine that your future self is your accountability partner. So you start doing things now. That way your future accountability partner will be like, hey, he's doing great. Hey, he did great. I'm proud of him. It's the exact same thing as any accountability partner you may have. You go to them to talk. You go to them to distract you from things. You go to them to help put you on the right path, to keep you from doing bad things in the future. And ultimately, it's essentially, I think it's entirely about people being proud of you and you not wanting to let people down. That is why you do things or you don't do things. And literally, if you make your future self, and which will eventually become your present self, and you now becomes your past self, three people, three different versions of ourselves, if you make that your mentor, maybe you don't go to your future self, but you do things right now that affects your future self greatly. It lets them look at you positively and say that this is a great partnership. This is a great accountability partner because he's doing it right. And it looks bad on them. Just like my friend Elijah said, it looks bad on the future you if you don't do the things you need to do now. If you don't hold yourself accountable, if you don't make sure you want it each and every day. Accountability is not a one-way street, it's not a two-way street. It's a three-way street. It's a three-way street because it's three people broken down. Three people. Past, present, future. It's so important because you need this. Because even if people don't know what accountability is, they're going to need it at some point. Or they're going to realize the importance of it at some point. I realized that periodically. Today, I realized it because I was taking a shower that was different than most showers I was taking. And I realized in that moment that I was screwing myself in the future because I was taking all these cold showers. Or maybe my past self was screwing my current self because I'm having to go through anxiety of, oh, I don't want to take a shower, no, but I gotta take a shower, it's gonna be cold. I can take a hot shower. I can take a hot shower. I can do so many other things. I can stop doing this. I don't have to do this. I need to do this. All of these ideas and thoughts play into what your future self will have to go through. If you go through a zombie-like routine of you just doing something over and over and over, you're going to have to pay the consequences if those were bad things. You have to really, honestly, and I'm not even joking when I say this, like you need to look at yourself, maybe in the mirror, or just talk to yourself. It's kind of hard sometimes to get in windows where you can truly talk to yourself. There's been times where I have to tell myself I'm proud of me, or I tell myself I'm disappointed in me. And that's what the lack of accountability in my life kind of manifests into. When I say I'm not proud, when I say I'm proud, that means accountability is great. And I'm doing what I just said. I'm breaking it down into three different parts. There's sometimes where I have to tell myself, I refer to myself as dodo when I'm talking to myself. I'm like, good job, dodo. Good job. You learned a lot, or you've grown, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm proud of that. The me in the past made my current self proud, and I'm telling myself I'm proud. It's almost like that's my medium. I'm talking to my past. The conversation between me and my future self is my future self, which would be me now talking to myself in the mirror, would essentially be that conversation. Dude, we gotta do this. We gotta talk to that person. We gotta get to the bottom of this. This is bad. This is bad. We gotta fix this. And you're gonna fix this. I'm waiting on you to fix this. Like, there's been moments in my life where I talk to myself like that, and it grabs me and it shakes me into reality so fast. Today, I was in the shower. I'm like, why were you taking so many cold showers? If it was affecting you negatively, you're doing it on the basis of, oh, it has so many health benefits. But I was so robotic in doing it, and it was for bragging rights. Oh yeah, I take cold showers. Why did you do that? I was having that medium of conversation between me and my past self. You are your own accountability partner in any aspect. You got to talk to yourself, and those partners will never go anywhere. We're gonna have to have those inner dialogues or outward dialogues to ourselves. Eventually in life, everyone has them. Think about if you're at a very small, like very, very low point in your life, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. There it is. That's accountability. That's accountability. It's that simple. I think back to when I was watching Spider Man Homecoming, and Spider Man was trapped under that rubble. He's like, come on, Spider Man. Come on, Spider Man. That's him talking to himself, holding himself accountable. He doesn't want to die. And maybe that's how you need to think about it. I don't want to die. I don't want me to die. I don't want the goodness I'm feeling now to die. Or I want the bad I'm feeling now to be done in the future. And that involves pruning my past, or that involves specializing in the things that are going to make my future self proud. He's going to look at me and say, that's a good accountability partner. He's accountable. Because if you're accountable with yourself, you can be accountable with other people. Because you know how important it is with you, so naturally it's important with other people as well. Accountability is so, so, so important. But it's important because it's always with you, whether you like it or not. Accountability is one of those things that if we practice it daily, it becomes exceptionally, exceptionally great for us. But if we don't realize that it's always with us, it can just sit in the background and never affect us in a positive way. But it's so, so positive. If you have those conversations with yourself, the things that you can say to yourself to remind yourself that you don't have to do this anymore, or you need to do this. Holding yourself accountable, making your future self proud, because you're going to look back at it. You're going to have that conversation with yourself eventually. Any good accountability partner, I'd imagine, is that they don't have to have these huge, big conversations like, dude, you have to stop. When I think of that, I'm like, oh, this is going bad. This is a bad partnership. But a good partnership would be people that actively talk to each other, they actively make each other proud with their actions. They understand that the things they do not only affect them, but they affect the other person. And if you relate it to your own life, the things you do now not only affect you now, or sometimes they don't even affect you now, but it affects the other you, the future you. Things you've done in the past affect the present you. This partnership is eternal, and that is why it's important. It's eternal for every single one of us. Those inner dialogues, you have to have them. You will have them. Because everyone gets to a point where they're either proud of themselves, good job, good job. I've came a long way. Look at us now. There's so many things you could say that it's manifesting into words. That's when it's going good, but it's going bad. You're like, I have to stop this. I've had enough of this. I'm done. This is the last time this is going to happen. And if you imagine that you're looking someone in the eyes, telling them that you have to stop. This is the last time you're going to do this. It makes it so much more sticky. And it's almost like you have to do it because you told them. It's the you that you told has to do it now. It's so much more impactful. That's why accountability partners exist. Because community, that conversation, the idea that I'm affecting someone else's life, either positively or negatively. And that's why it's so important. And that's why I can't afford to screw up. That's why people do them so often. Because other people's lives hanging in the balance. But if you break your life into 3 sections and you hang those in the balance and understand that if one of them drops down, the other ones will drop down slowly right after. And the same goes with any form of community or accountability partner. You have to make it a core thing within yourself before you do it with other people. And maybe it's the opposite for some people. Maybe they do it with other people so well they can make it into their lives. But either way, it's gonna happen. So we need to start practicing it now. Practicing that accountability that, like I said, is eternal. It's always gonna be there. It's always gonna be a good thing for us. And not having it be an important piece of our lives is always gonna hold us back. Because we're not making our future self proud, or we're doing things that is going to really hurt us in the future. I have to think about this all the time when I'm eating things, when I'm deciding if I want to go out on certain nights. There's so many ways this accountability breaks down into your own lives. Like I said, your own lives. It's lives. It's 3. Think of it like 3 people. In your own lives, accountability is in everything. Everything. Think of the video I'm making right now when I'm talking to you. This could be our accountability partnership. I want you to do things that is going to make me proud, and I want to do things that are going to make you proud. Maybe this video is one of those. But the same goes for me in the future and me in the past. I'm probably making my past self proud because I said I wanted to do this. And the future self, I may be setting him up for a better life. That way he can look back and say, good job. Or even thank you. That's an important part of accountability. Thanksgiving. Giving thanks to other people because you changed their life. You can either do this positively or negatively. I can thank myself in the future, or I can say, why did you do that? Not why did I allow myself, no, why did you do that? Almost scolding yourself. Because when you make it so personal like that, like I said, it sticks. Accountability is so important. So important. Because it's always around. It's always around whether we like it or not. So we might as well act like we are our own accountability partners. And I'm by no means saying that that's all it should be. For instance, if you are making yourself your own accountability partner and it's just not working out, maybe you should go find an actual other person. But it can start with you. And maybe for some people, they've never had to have an accountability partner in the societal sense that we all know as having someone you talk to and someone you account for, or someone who accounts for you, because they've done it themselves. Oh, how I envy those people who only do good things because they know that they can't afford to do bad things. Because the lives of their past, present, and future self are always hanging in the balance. When you understand that, it makes it so much more important. You need to know when it's important and why it's important. The when is simply when you are doing something bad or doing something good that is going to affect you in a later state. When it's important is that split second of thinking, should I do this? I shouldn't do this. I should do this. That's where the accountability strikes. It's when it happens. Why it's important is because you want to have a good life. You want to have a life where you can be proud of yourself, not regretting the things that you've done. I don't want to regret the things that I've done. I don't want to do things that hurt me just for bragging rights. That, like taking cold showers. Cold showers, they're great. But when I just make it a core part of each day and say it's for discipline, I'm hurting myself. Accountability is important because it lets you just smack yourself in the face and realize that, holy crap, I can take control of this. You need to take control of this. Otherwise, your future self is going to be looking at you like you're an idiot. Why did you not think of this sooner? It's simple. It's simple. It's so, so simple. You continue to hold yourself more accountable and hopefully realize the importance of it as you practice it more day in, day out. With yourselves, like I said, break it up. Because when you break it up, it makes it so much more personal when you feel like you're talking to someone else. That is the whole reason accountability partners are a thing. Because it's talking to someone else. Someone else's life is hanging in the balance. And I don't know if you want to call it gaslighting or delusional to think that you have multiple lives. But if that's what you got to do to realize the importance of it, it's what you got to do. Screw what other people think. Because, like I said, if you can do things now that is going to make your future self proud, it's so, so important. Because it's going to happen at some point. Break it up into different lives. But at the end of the day, it's your life. And it's either going to be good with accountability or not as good without accountability. Thank you guys so much for consuming this content, listening, watching, wherever you're getting it from. Hope you're able to be more accountable. Hope this can spark some fire in you to maybe do something within the next 24 hours, maybe within the next 5 minutes, that you can say, I should do this, or I shouldn't do this, because my future self would not think of me as a good accountability partner, or he would think of me as a good accountability partner if this happened. Think of it like that. I promise it's so beneficial. This is Dodo signing out. Peace. Hope you guys have a blessed day.